You know that feeling, right? 1 second, everything's normal, and the next, silence. The lights flicker and die, the hum from the fridge is gone. It's that sudden, frustrating darkness of a power outage. We have all been there, stumbling around, looking for a flashlight, just wondering, how long is this going to last? It can feel so random when it happens, but there are actually very specific reasons our power grids fail. And, understanding why they fail is really the first step to building a grid that can, believe it or not, fix itself. And that's more critical than ever, especially as we rely on electricity for, well, pretty much everything.
So what's the biggest culprit here? Well, it's not just one thing. At the top of the list, making up a full quarter of all outages, is just trees and vegetation falling on power lines. Right behind that, simple equipment failure. You add in car accidents, bad weather, even wildlife, and you start to see you have this really complex system with a whole lot of potential weak spots. Now, in the old days, getting the power back on was a really slow manual job. An operator would get a call, send out a crew, and that crew would have to physically drive, sometimes for miles and miles, often in the middle of a storm, just to find the one broken spot. It could take hours or even longer.
But what if the grid could fix itself? I know, it sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, but it's not. It's the reality of what we call the self-healing grid, and it's a revolutionary technology that is changing everything we thought we knew about getting the lights back on.
The easiest way to wrap your head around this is to think of it like Waze or Google Maps, but for electricity. So when a fault happens, let's say a tree falls on a line, that's like a major traffic accident blocking a highway. Instead of causing a massive traffic jam, the system automatically finds a detour and reroutes all that power around the problem area. The official name for this tech is FLISR. I know, it's a mouthful. It stands for Fault Location, Isolation, and Service Restoration. But each part of that name tells you exactly what it does. It finds the problem, it walls it off from the rest of the grid, and then it gets the service, the power, back on for as many people as possible, all on its own. So how does this digital magic actually work? Let's walk through it step by step, because this is where it gets really, really cool.
Okay, so let's follow the journey here. First, everything's fine. Power is flowing normally from a substation out to homes and businesses. But then, boom, a tree falls, a line goes down, and a fault happens. You can see it there with the red X. Instantly, everybody downstream of that point is plunged into darkness. But before a human can even pick up a phone to report the outage, these automated sensors all along the lines spring into action. They detect that sudden change in current, and they instantly talk to each other to figure out the exact location of the break.
Next, the system quarantines the problem. It intelligently sends a signal to open automated switches on either side of that fault. It's essentially building a digital wall around the damaged area so the outage can't spread any further.
And here's the magic trick. Service is restored. The system reroutes power from a totally different, neighboring source to feed all of those undamaged sections of the line. So for almost everybody, the lights pop back on in just a couple of minutes, leaving only that tiny, isolated area for the repair crew to fix safely. That, right there, is the self-healing grid in action.
Okay, so that all sounds great in theory, but what about the real-world results? I mean, does it actually work? Well, this isn't just some experiment. It's being rolled out across the country, and the data on its impact is, frankly, staggering. In just a single year of analysis across several major utilities, this FLSIR technology prevented a sustained power outage for about 270,000 customers. Think about that. That's more than 250,000 homes and businesses that kept their lights on, when in the past they definitely would have gone dark. And what about the time saved? Well, get this. For those customers, the system prevented a collective 38 million minutes of interruption. This isn't just a small improvement. It is a massive, game-changing leap in how reliable our grid can be. But here's an interesting detail. Not all of these self-healing systems are created equal. This chart shows the difference between systems that still need a human to click a button and approve the switch versus ones that are fully automated. And I mean, the results are clear. Full automation is the winner, reducing the number of customers affected by 55%. The manual systems, only 35%. In an outage, every second counts. This huge leap forward isn't just about a few smart switches, though. It's actually part of a much bigger story: the complete digital transformation of our entire energy infrastructure. I think this image tells you everything you need to know about that transformation. On the left, that's a utility control room from 1993. You've got giant wall maps, landline phones. It's all very analog. On the right, a modern operations center. It's basically the digital brain of the grid, with dozens of screens processing real-time data from everywhere.
That is the engine that makes a self-healing grid possible.
But getting from the picture on the left to the one on the right is not easy. Utilities have learned some really important lessons along the way. For one, the communication networks that control the grid have to be even more reliable than the power lines themselves. And the staff? They need totally new skills in things like data analytics and IT. And you can't just plug this stuff in and hope it works. It takes tons of testing and really strong partnerships with the tech companies that build this hardware.
All of this incredible work is really just laying the foundation for an even smarter, even more resilient future. So, what's next on the horizon?
Well, the ultimate goal here is to build a grid that isn't just reactive. The next generation of these systems won't just respond to outages after they happen. The goal is to use data, analytics, and even AI to predict and prevent them before they can even start.
Which kind of leaves us with a final thought. We rely on electricity more than ever before, from our phones to our cars to our jobs, and as that reliance just keeps growing, this self-healing technology is an absolutely crucial step forward. But it makes you wonder, what other innovations will it take to build a grid that is truly, completely unbreakable?